It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. Banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute. Comprehensive cutting-edge care giving you every reason to choose Hayes Med. United Rentals. Your partner for equipment rental, sales, and service. VTI. Your John Deere dealer. With locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. VTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop. Order by phone or use the Taco Shop app. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Royal Roofing. Give your home the royal treatment with Royal Roofing. And Eagle, our community connected. Now, Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And a good Monday morning. Welcome into another edition of Tiger Talk. Good to have you with us as we chat some Fort Hays State basketball today. Tigers coming off a long road trip down to Northeastern State in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and then their first venture into Fort Smith, Arkansas to face the newest member of the MIAA, Arkansas Fort Smith. Now back at home, final home weekend of the season, Thursday, the regular season anyway. Thursday, Emporia State comes to town. Then the final Saturday home game with the Newman Jets this upcoming Saturday, and then, of course, Kearney later in the year. But season starting to wind down, getting on the back stretch here as both the Tiger men and women try to battle for the conference tournament seeding and all that stuff. We'll get into more of that as we move along. We'd like to hear from you. Chime in with a question. All you have to do is go to the FHSU Athletics website at FHSUathletics.com. Click on the Fans tab. You'll get that drop-down menu, very lower right-hand corner. You'll see Tiger Talk, Ask the Coach. And again, if you use your question, chance to win yourself a Mix 103.3 T-shirt. Tigers men, as we're joined by head coach Mark Johnson. Couple tough losses. They've dropped 4 in a row now. First time in a while that's happened. 2020-21 season last time, and a couple of hard-fought games against some pretty good teams. Just came up a little bit short, losing by 2 on Thursday, 66-64 to Northeastern State, and then fall by 10 to number 25 Arkansas Fort Smith on Saturday. And again, you guys battled, had some offensive woes at times, especially on Thursday, but you competed again. It's never been an issue with that. Just kind of a little funk right now. Just haven't been able to get in that win column.
Yeah, I thought Thursday, we came out really ready to play, guarded at a pretty good level. We had a really bad half of offense. I think at one point we were up 10-6 in the first however many 8-10 minutes of the game, and if we were able to score at a little bit higher rate, you really felt like you could have got up by 12 points in that stretch early in the first part of that game, and maybe make it a different outcome. Thought the second half we played much better offense. The Blackman kid inside's a load, and he was really physical on the offensive end. A lot of times we talk about physicality on the defensive end. He's about the most physical offensive post player we have in our conference, and we just had a hard time slowing him down. I think he had 23. But still had our opportunities at the end, had some good things happen. I thought Mo had a really good last 3 halves of the road trip. And that's probably been a little bit of problem with our team, and just inconsistency all year long from, I would say everybody not named Dan. Dan's numbers, they're just keying on him so much. He's not getting as many opportunities, but I think that's probably, I wish we had a little more consistency, game in, game out from guys. And a lot of this is most guys here are in that first time being more of a feature player and having that responsibility. But I thought walking away from that second half, and it was Mo really had some confidence, and then he really played well against Fort Smith too. Had some opportunities at the end of the game, and just had a 3 to take the lead at one point. I think we had a free throw to tie it, and then we missed the shot there at the end. I thought we got a pretty good look as far as last possession of the game, getting it where you want to get is probably about as good as we were going to be able to do, and it just didn't fall for us. So disappointing, and all that, because you knew Saturday Fort Smith's a very good team, and they're really getting to hit the difficulty of their schedule. If you're looking at their coaches, you look at their next 4 games are all on the road at Washburn, Central Missouri. Well, they got a very big schedule coming up. So I'm sure the big message was we got to make sure we take care of this game before we go on the road trip. This is a really big game for us, and they played fantastic.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. You mentioned Mo. Good to see, and hopefully maybe that can spark you guys, spark him anyway. We certainly have seen flashes of it, but that's he had a good game Saturday, coming off the good second half, and he kind of he had it. I can't remember, it was the Washburn game. He kind of willed you back in with, I thought, some great defense in that one. But now he finally got to see his shot fall a little bit. Is it as simple as that? He saw the ball go through the basket?
Yeah, well, I think just for Mo, it's always been aggressiveness. That's his personality is just he's a really good guy, and he's just kind of laid back and all that. And we really want him to be aggressive and I've really talked to him about, be ready to shoot the ball, look to shoot the ball. I think a lot of times turnovers happen, and we talk about this all the time with our team. Good players drive to score and the pass happens. That's why you're a good player. You drive it, you make the read and the pass happens. But when you're driving to pass, usually that bad things happen. You become you're passive, you're unaggressive. And anytime you go in unaggressive, bad things happen. And I think that's just something we've really tried to work with him. And really Dan from last year, that's probably the biggest jump he's made is a little more physicality and playing just a little more aggressive.
Juju, I thought, had a good game on Thursday night. 9 points, 10 rebounds. He was really active and just facilitated a lot of stuff for you, especially in that second half.
Yeah, he's starting to do more. I think even on Saturday maybe he had 9. I can't remember. But, yeah, I do think, he's starting to get comfortable. One, you're a new player that comes in trying to figure everything out with around some established players and all that. And then you get hurt and – you're missing time, you're missing game, probably more than anything that hurt him. He's played long enough. It wasn't the practice times, it was the games he was missing. And then when he came into the games, probably the first 4 or 5, he was only playing 10, 12 minutes a game trying to get back. And I think that put him behind. When you come to a new situation, you got to get game confidence, comfortable in games. And I think it's finally come around where he's a little more confident in what he's doing.
Kyle, 18 points, 6 boards against Northeastern State, and he was coming off a really tough one against Central Missouri. It was good to see him do that, hit 2 of 3 threes. In fact, he had a really good weekend shooting the 3 ball, and that kind of left him for a while, and that's something you're going to need from him here down the stretch.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of 3-point shooters this year in our rotation, so that puts probably a little more pressure on those guys that do shoot threes to have to be able to shoot it at a decent level, and I thought he was able to do that. Kyle's he's a big guard, big wing, and he's all of he's 6'6". He's a big, strong kid. Everybody can see with his dunking ability that he can get off the ground. When he adds that 3-point shot, then he becomes that next level guy that really makes it hard to guard because now you have to come out to him and really pressure him, and he's strong enough to get around you and straight line drive and make things happen.
I thought Eli had a good weekend for you. He had 4 points, 3 boards on Thursday, but he gave you some good minutes, especially in that second half as you're trying to hang in there with Arkansas Fort Smith. And it seems like he's getting a little more confident on the offensive side of things, and he's always so big and physical defensively.
Yeah, we need to get him the ball a little bit more. Our guys sometimes, we've talked earlier, sometimes I think the lost art of post entry, that used to be something like I used to say, you bring a kid on a visit and you want to work him out and you want to see if he has any feel for the game and knows how to play somewhat. Just have him try to do post entries against defense and post defense because you got to throw it on time, on target, away from the defender in the right spot. There's a small window there, and our guys at times struggle. I thought we did a better job, especially on Saturday, giving the ball. And Eli, again, we have a bunch of really good guys, and that's awesome. But even Eli at times has got a little bit. We've talked about Mo. We'd like to see a little more nasty, a little more aggressiveness. He's got a big, strong kid that needs to get out there and at times be a little more aggressive down there because, like you said, he's just naturally physical, and he has the ability, pretty good footwork, and kind of has a knack sometimes around the rim to be able to finish. Probably if he was instead of 6'7", 6'8", or 6'9", I think that would really help for sure. But he's still at 6'7", kind of has a really good footwork and knack of getting angles and being able to finish.
Maybe he's got a growth spurt in him. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Probably not at this point anymore, but you never know. Tigers come up short, 66-64. Another close one on Thursday, and then had to turn back around, play the number 25 team in the country. We talked a little bit about Fort Smith. We'll get more into detail and then preview what's coming up here this weekend. Emporia State Thursday, and then Newman on Saturday. Tiger Talk brought to you today by United Rentals, your partner for equipment rentals, sales, and service. Whether it's big or small, you'll find it all at United Rentals in Hayes. We got more Tiger Talk after the break here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
We had a guy that came into the bank. His dream was to own a restaurant. He was turned down from multiple banks, and upon coming in here, having a prior knowledge of who he was, we reviewed his business plan, we talked to him, and we felt strongly that we wanted to join him in this adventure. Ever since we joined with him, he has been very, very successful. It's just really nice to be able to be a part of somebody's dreams. Golden Belt Bank, one story at a time.
Here's Hamake off a screen, has it up top, lobs it underneath to Ramirez, kicks it over to Grill, right wing three, count it! Kyle Grill's second three, he has a dozen. It's 57-55, a 12-0 Fort Hays State run. Now some of the action from Thursday in Tahlequah. Great run in the second half. Got the Tigers back in it. Unfortunately, they lose by 2. They've had a couple of games down to the wire. They've come up short this season as they lose at Northeastern State. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. It's presented by Golden Belt Bank. Banking one story at a time. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. You can visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. You still are your overall record in these close games, but it used to be almost automatic. Your guys would find a way to win. Is kind of leveling off, unfortunately, here, especially this year. You've been right there in a lot of these close ones, and the last 2 anyway, just haven't quite been able to get over the hump and get those wins.
Yeah, obviously the Washburn game we should have won. Kind of the Northeastern, and you look back at the Kearney, kind of, it was kind of different. We were down 14 with 8 minutes to go. I think if we win that game, you almost feel like you stole it. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Kearney. So, we spent a lot of energy to get there, and then had our opportunities, and it's such a fine line between, like I said, things that can happen in the last couple minutes of a close game. You got to have a lot of things go your way or a lot of things go against you. And then, with the quality of teams in our league, that ends up, you win your close games compared to losing them. It makes a big difference in your season. You look at Washburn and Central Missouri right now. Central Missouri probably should have, they lost in double overtime at Washburn. They just beat them. They got beat at the buzzer. So Washburn has a 3-game lead, and probably Central Missouri, if they get a few breaks, are probably leading our league. It's even at the top. So, winning your close games is very vital in our league, especially.
Well, Arkansas Fort Smith on Saturday. First trip to Fort Smith, Arkansas. First time playing them at their home facility. I think I asked Coach Cars this last week a little bit about just, it's a new facility, new city, just, routine. For everybody's different. No one's been there, never played a game before. Is that – how do you handle that, and how did you handle it? Is it just it's just another game on the schedule? Do you have any embarrassing or anything with everybody?
Yeah, no, I think it was just another game. Same routine. It's – good to size town, very nice arena. The weather was awesome. Just
should take it our golf clubs.
Yeah, the result and the distance driving was the problem. But no, we treat it like every other game. I don't think you really change anything for that. We go on the road in non-conference games. Same thing. South Dakota Mines. You don't really change much of your routine. I think we're all creatures of habit, and you want your players to be in their normal routine for all the games that we play.
Well, face a Fort Smith team. They were ranked 5th in the country at one point, got off to a 13-0 start, then kind of hit a little rough patch, and now they've kind of gotten out of it. I think they've won, 5 of the last 6, and boy, you caught them on the wrong day. 14 threes, and they are knocking them in from everywhere. And the fact your guys even had a chance and were hanging around is quite something. You got behind by 18, and next thing you turn around, you had a chance to knock it into single digits. I think you got it there a couple of times. That was quite a display by them, but yet on your guys' credit, they found a way to kind of hang around and give themselves a little bit of a chance.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the other two games. The other two games I can remember in the first half, I think we talked about it afterwards, but up in Marshall, Minnesota, I want to say the best ever was that performance. I think they were 14-16 in the first half. And then Pitt State 2 years ago in the conference tournament, the first half. Other than that, This is probably as good as it's been. I mean, they went 9 of 13 in the first half. 2 of them they banked in, so you kind of knew it was their night. I mean, they were really impressive. I think just watching the film, I mean, obviously 9 of 13, it's hard to overcome, but we had a couple individual performances as far as they scored on top of that where they kind of got some points going to the rim and kind of bullied us, and that can happen. If we eliminate that part of it, even the 9 of 13 gives us a chance. Thought offensively, we did some good things. Some guy Mo, like I said, played really good again. Eli had a nice night. Juju, I think, had 9. I mean, everybody's just focusing on Dan so much, and I think he's done better passing the ball out. His assist has gone up. I think the big thing with Dan right now, he's never really been in this situation, so I think he's, being Coach Brown, I think he's playing, we talked about this, I think he's playing on his heels a little bit. He gets the ball, and instead of thinking aggressiveness, score, he's worried about everybody coming at him. And, so he's kind of losing confidence in his shot. I mean, we feel like he needs to catch it and just be more ready to shoot on the catch before they get to him. And at times right now, I think when he's catching, he knows they're bringing everybody to him, and he's just losing. Like I said, he's playing, like I said, a little bit back on his heels. We need to get him more aggressive, and again, this is the first time this is really ever, to his credit, he's had such a good year. And everybody's semi-done it the last month. Central Missouri was the first team to really completely sell out on it, and it obviously was effective. So now we go on the road, and Northeastern and Fort Smith watch that film also. So I assume that's 3 times in a row. I mean, we're probably going to face it again. You look at the reason we beat Emporia on the road in a very close game. It was a battle. Dan was phenomenal. He had 27 points, and he really hit a couple shots, very difficult shots, the last minute and a half of that game to seal the victory. So I'm assuming between what he did the first time and what they've done in the past, I mean, so he's got to find a way to be more aggressive. We got to find a way to put him in better situations, and then his teammates have just got to be better and ready to play off him, and they're getting some pretty open looks. I think that's why some of these guys are playing better, scoring more points, as they're getting a lot more high quality opportunities than they were getting maybe a month ago.
And piggyback on Dan, and it feels like when he maybe does have that open shot that we're accustomed to making, he's hesitant in taking it because I think he's trying to feel out what's going to happen.
That's what I mean. He's worried about what's coming before the catch instead of, hey, you just got to catch and be aggressiveness in the pass happens.
I think you said it after game. You scored 77 points in that game. Normally, that's a pretty convincing win for Fort Hays State, the way the offense has been at times this year. But it was good to see some guys hit some shots. Hopefully, that side of the game can pick up a tick here down the stretch.
Yeah, we needed to. I mean, I think the biggest problem we had this week, is it's really been an offensive problem, struggle at times this season. Our defense wasn't very good for our standards at all this past weekend, and hey, credit to those teams. We don't face a lot of back to the basket post players anymore, so that was a little difficult for us. And then Fort Smith's a hard guard, coverage.
Could ask you about that.
They lead the league basically in three-pointers made per game. So, I mean, they're just good. But we didn't guard to the level we needed to. If we had how we've been guarding all year, there's a good chance we might have won them both. And I wouldn't say our effort wasn't bad by any means. It's just we've been able to guard at a pretty exceptional rate. And I would say our defense this week was pretty solid. We were pretty much a solid defensive team, and that's probably not going to be a good enough effort for this team to win.
And Fort Smith is such a unique team. They've got the one, I guess, kind of big. He's 6'6", but they're all about 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and they just interchange all these parts. But they all, outside the point guard being a little bit shorter, they're kind of the same player they just keep bringing in at you.
Yeah, I mean, they play a lot of guys. To their credit, I don't know, I felt like some things that have probably hurt them at times. They're playing too many guys. I mean, they had a stretch they were playing 13 guys. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part they cut it down to 8 against us.
Yeah.
And guys get more comfortable. They get in their rhythm when they're playing more minutes. I think 8 is the perfect number. You know what I mean? If you could always play 8, you had 8 good players, and then a drop off after that is usually pretty good as long as you don't get injured. But yeah, they make it difficult. I think the thing you see though, it'll be interesting as they move forward. That's a really good offensive team, but when your size is that size, at times your defense is going to struggle, and that'll be the big question as they move forward. They got a really challenging conference schedule coming up here the last 3 weeks, and that style of play and their makeup of their team is really going to really help them, or it could be a detriment. There's always a give and take in everything you do. We're probably a little bigger this year, which has helped us because we're not the most athletic team. I think if we didn't have size, we'd really struggle to defend. Mm-hmm. I think our size really helps us in that area, but probably our size, we're not as versatile as you probably need to be at times in today's world. We don't attempt as many threes as other teams. We probably don't have as many guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot on the perimeter that kind of today's world is. So there's always a give and take in what you're doing, and but they have a very nice team.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. You're exactly right. They're going to have some tough challenges, but they're right there in the thick of it, along with Central Missouri, trying to keep a little bit of pressure on the Washburn Ichabod. Tigers have their final home weekend, if you will, Thursday, Saturday. They do have it. The Kearney Lopers coming to town at the last week of the regular season, but last time they'll be at home on a Thursday, Saturday swing, and we'll talk about that. Big games, Emporia State, and then Newman this weekend, and we'll preview them coming up. Tiger Talk brought to you by the Taco Shop. Order by phone. Use the Taco Shop app. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. It's the Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Back with more Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
At BTI, we pride ourselves on providing quality John Deere equipment and customer support. Since 1944, BTI has been serving farmers and commercial operators with mowers, tractors, and compact construction equipment at an affordable price. As a leader in the ag industry, BTI offers complete technology solutions so our farmers can help keep America running. Experience the BTI difference for yourself.
Call on BTI.
Our family in partnership with your family.
Here's Conte off a screen. Over to Hammocky, right wing. Back to Mo, head of the circle. Pump fakes. Puts it on the floor. Back to Grill. He'll launch a three. Swish! Kyle Grill from the right wing buries the three. He was 2 for 3 on Thursday. Hits his first one here, and Fort Hays staying within one. Tigers on a 7-0 run. They're down 20-19. That's some of the action from the Stubblefield Center in Fort Smith on Saturday. Kyle Grill 2 for 3 on Saturday. Went 4 for 6 from 3 on the road trip, so hopefully that gets him back to form. Tigers certainly going to need it here down the stretch. Hey, look your best on Tiger Game Day with official Nike gear from BSN Sports and the Sideline Store. You can go to the FHSU Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop. You'll find hundreds of products and designs, and they're all customizable. That's FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop. Open up the Tiger Team Store. Some pretty cool stuff with from Nike and BSN Sports and the Tiger Team Store. 4-day state, as we said, at home. Final weekend stretch. Thursday, Emporia State. Saturday afternoon, Newman. Down to the final 3 games at home here this year. And I think you said it, Coach, after the game Saturday. It was the Super Bowl weekend, and this Emporia game is your Super Bowl. You look at it right now, you'd be playing on Wednesday in the conference tournament. Certainly nothing locked up yet. These final 5 games are going to be very, very crucial to locking down a tournament spot, and then hopefully getting into one of those top 6 seats. You have to play on that opening day on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think this week is just to make sure you got to win games to make sure you get in the tournament. We win these games. I mean, we will be in, and then you spend the next week against 2 teams you're battling to get in the top 6 to make sure you get that bye to the quarterfinals. So really big week for us. Emporia, really have had some good wins. Beat Central Missouri, beat Pitt State, and Fairleigh was a tough game at our place. They got some quickness. They got a shooter. They got a freshman, kind of undersized big. That's a tough matchup. So, I mean, they're a solid team. We're going to have to come ready to play. And then, obviously, Newman's having a challenging year. And we need to, again, you have to earn victory. You can't expect to just show up and these teams are going to hand it to you. We're going to have to earn the victory with as far as our work ethic, playing hard, competing, doing right, and if we do that, then things will go in our favor. But it's a really important week. One, we've lost 4 in a row, which hasn't happened for a while, doesn't happen very often. And then these games are games you feel like, if you look at the standings, you have to win and you need to win.
Emporia team, it seemed like got off to a bit of a slow start, but to their credit, they just kept grinding and getting better and better. You mentioned the wins and some really big ones. And then, as you said, it was a 3-point victory when you played them at their place. It seems like a long time ago, but to their credit, they keep building and seem to be getting better every time out.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at last year when we played them, quite honestly, on our home floor early in the year, they were pretty awful, you know what I mean? And then we went to their place and they beat us, and they were just a completely different team. And I would say same thing. They've continually gotten better. They're a little bit young. Coach Bill Utter does a good job. And they've just gotten better and better, and they have some individual talent there. The Harris kid is a very difficult matchup at 6'7". He can really shoot. He's athletic. He hurt us. I think he had 23 at their place. So they're more than capable of coming in here and giving us all we want. So we need to, make sure our confidence isn't down. We've lost to, obviously, Washburn gets all the credit, and we should have beat them. But, Central Missouri's right there with them. If Washburn can win it all, Central Missouri can win it all. And then Fort Smith is a top 25 team on the road, very good team. I think they're 18-4. So we've played some good teams here in this stretch. It's not like we're getting beat by teams you shouldn't have happen. So we just need to play a little better, and hopefully our confidence isn't dragging, and our guys come out with a little self-belief this week, and we get on the right side of it again.
And one thing about Newman, they've had some blowout losses, but you look at their scores as we're tracking during the games, and they're still playing hard. They're still competing. They're not just laying down. They just haven't been able to put wins together. And coming to Hayes is going to be a big deal for those guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no, like I said, you got to earn victory. I mean, they're not just they're competitive kids. They're playing college basketball too. Everybody has a couple guys that are very capable players that you don't give them enough respect and don't compete against them. They'll make shots on you. So we'll have to be ready to play, and hopefully, like I said, we get this thing turned in the right direction to finish the year.
All right. Well, hopefully it is a good weekend. It's hard to believe last Thursday, Saturday, and last Saturday home game, how quickly what seems like you get past Christmas and New Year's, the season flies by, and that's certainly been the case again this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a lot of things in life. I always feel like when you're in it, it's a long grind, but when it's over, you sit there and go, boy, that went by fast. And so as you get later in the season, days start ticking by, and you always try to make your players cognizant of that. Time is fleeting, and you better take care. Be ready to go when you have an opportunity to play.
Yep, 2 of the last 3 at home for these guys, so hopefully it's a good weekend. Coach, as always, appreciate the time, and we'll see you on Thursday.
All right, thanks, George.
Mark Johnson, coach of the Tigers, Fort Hays State and Emporia State, 7:30 on Thursday night, and then Newman to town for a 4 o'clock tip on Saturday. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some women's basketball. Coach Talia Cars will join us after this timeout here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
Looking for unique flavor at low prices? Look no further than Taco Shop in Hayes. We have original, made-from-scratch Mexican food, sure to satisfy an empty stomach. Take a bite out of these delicious deals. Grab a beef or cheese enchilada, bite into a beef and bean burrito, or chow down on a Sancho. Save time with our free Taco Shop app. Have delicious fresh taste in just a few taps. Dine in, get it to go, or have it delivered. Taco Shop. You've never had it so good.
Come on down to the taco shop. You never had it. You never had it so good. To the taco shop.
Levy on the left wing. Top of the key to Zeke, and out of Stearns. Got knocked away. Zeke gets it back. Over to Levy. Left wing 3. Good! Brooke Levy hits the 3. She has 11. 39-33. Fort Hays State by 6. Biggest lead of the That was some of the action from a couple of weeks ago. Not sure what's going on there. But anyway, it was still a nice highlight from Brooke Levy. She had another good week. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, brought to you by the Hayes Orthopedic Institute, offering the most comprehensive and advanced orthopedic care in Western Kansas. White travel hours and the best in the region right here at Hayes Med. I think the highlight we wanted to play was a Britton Zika 3 late down the stretch at Northeastern State. Huge moment for her and a huge moment for the team. And you get out of there. In fact, a couple of 5-point wins this week. I'm sure people are going to look at the scores and kind of think, hey, and Thursday maybe not a surprise because Northeastern was right there battling for the upper half and to have a good season. Maybe Fort Smith raised some eyebrows, but I thought they played really, really well. And we talk about it's February, and all that matters is winning, and especially when you're on the road. It's difficult, and your team found a way to persevere and get those victories.
Yeah, we did. At Northeastern, I think we played okay basketball. I think Northeastern's good, and they had a good plan, and got Telex on the bench, and just really had kids step up and play some of their best basketball, which was really good to see. And I think something that we really got to understand is as a team, we need that every game. We need every person to step up and really just elevate their game every time they get on the floor, because in order to do what we want to do at the end of the year, we've got to have more of that this year.
You know, and I think I asked you last week, we had an email question about does the team rely too much on Telexa, and I don't think consciously they do, but it's easy to get into a trap, for lack of a better word, but she is so good, and she's gone on these incredible stretches. I think it's probably easy just to do that instead of, hey, I do have a shot, or I can make things happen. They were kind of forced to on Thursday because of the foul trouble early on, and it was fun to see everybody step up because you know it's in there. You've seen it from them throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, no, I thought our inside game was really, really good from our bench. Avery and Britt both especially did a really good job, and Northeastern's bigs are good. They do a good job of getting position, and they make tough shots, and they had some of their better games, so they were super aggressive trying to get it in there, and I thought those two especially just really stepped up on both ends of the floor and got the ball where it needed to go offensively, and then made a cut to make the right play or the right shot when they needed to.
You mentioned Avery. I thought she had a really good road swing. And I think you said it after the game. She's always she knows the scouting report, and she plays it well, and that's what gives her a good opportunity to be successful. But she was looking to score. She hit some shots, and she kind of gave you some inside presence when Telexa had to be on the bench, especially on Thursday. But I thought that carried over into Saturday as well, and that's a good sign moving forward.
She did. She had a really good game on Saturday too, and I think Saturday was more defense and rebounding, and we've got to have that. We've got to be locked in defensively every day and make sure the people we want shooting are shooting and not the ones we don't want shooting. And I thought defensively she was really locked in and did a good job of crashing. Both sides of the ball on Thursday, she did a really good job of finding her shot and guarding like we needed to. And we worked on our post defense a lot with everybody this week just because we knew we would see some of that on both games as they have a good inside presence from everybody on Thursday, especially. They'll throw anybody in there, and I thought we did a pretty good job of making sure it was a tough shot.
You know, Telexa, 25 and a half minutes, I think a season low for her because of the foul trouble, and so her numbers weren't as big, but still managed to score 13 and made some key baskets down the stretch. It had to be frustrating to have for her to be sitting next to you, but she was really big in that fourth quarter when you needed someone to step up because you were in a tussle.
Yeah, no, it was hard for her, I think, and she was frustrated, and even frustrated after the game. She felt like she didn't have her best game, and I said, that's all right. We still got the win, and just having that mentality of people stepping up and trusting that people are going to step up and not feeling like she has to have all the pressure on her. And we talked about that even over the week before is it's awesome that you score 30 points a game. Also, it's okay that you don't. And it's okay that we have to have other people step up and that I don't want her to feel that pressure. And I think Thursday was a really good balance of I played like crap, but my team did a really good job in finding that balance and not feeling like she has to have the pressure on her all the time, even though she does have the ability to just take over the game in that balance of it and not feeling like it's on me and trusting everybody else to show up too.
That's an interesting point. I never quite thought of it. She's put up great numbers and it comes with ease, and I don't ever feel that ball hog or whatever you want to describe it. She ever does that because she passes a lot and has recognized the double, triple teams and finding her teammates. But I've never kind of thought of it. The pressure that she has to do it.
Yeah.
it seems like she's handling it well, but I mean, that's probably you can't tell by the way she plays that could be there.
Yeah, no, it's tough, and people are talking about it, and there's a lot of pressure, even maybe if they're not talking about it, and I think it was good for her to experience that and see that and feel that, because I'm not sure she knew how she was feeling about it for sure, and I think we feel that every single day of like, I'm good, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, maybe I'm not good, and you can talk about anything with that just emotionally until it's like hits the fan. It's like, oh, okay, I do need to check myself a little bit. I do need to see how am I feeling in this moment, and I thought that was a really good opportunity for her to be like, okay, and she has high expectations of herself, which is good, and why you see her be so successful is she expects herself to show up every day, and she's going to work her butt off every day, and Thursday wasn't her day.
It happens. It's a long season, but and she had a little help. I mean, but we'll just leave it at that. We figure out one way you can slow her down is you get her in foul trouble. But anyway, Brooke Levy had a good game. In fact, she was uncredited. They finally got it corrected with 4. She had 14 assists, 14 points, and we've seen Brooke do this when, whatever the case may be. Maybe Telex isn't scoring as well, but the offense is struggling. She finds a way to score. She got 14 points, had a really big game on that regard, mainly at the free throw line, 8 of those from free throws, and then dishes out 14 assists. I mean, she was as good as it gets on Thursday.
Yeah, no, she's been just extra special to watch this year, I think, and you'd see like a fire inside of her different this year. Maybe when we're not having as good of a game, or maybe we're playing a team that's maybe not as good, she's shown up every day and just has an extra boost of energy and was like, oh man, if Brooke can play like this, then I can play like this too. And she just is doing a great job of being a leader, and as a senior and then as a point guard, for me, it's a dream to be able to just have her in that role and just see her feed the energy into the team and see her get people easy shots. And then on the other end, she's working her tail off on defense and making really, really good plays like she did on Thursday in that breakaway layup. That was a crucial layup when it came down to the end of the game and winning the game by 5 points.
And she seems to be a little more demonstrative and not in a bad way, but talking to the officials, maybe, hey, you need to be watching some of this stuff, because we've talked about all year with what's happened with Telexa away from the ball. I mean, it's highway robbery, and I thought Saturday got a crew that actually called it, and you saw the results of that, and they didn't let teams just do whatever they want when you didn't have the ball. But it seems like Brooke's taking that role a little bit more and is like, hey guys, pay attention here, what's happening.
Yeah, no, and I think when she talks to them, she's saying the right things, so they're willing to listen, and it's not
just
you're not giving me the right call. She's explaining, okay, this is what I'm feeling when I'm going to the basket, and maybe you're seeing this up here, but what's happening down here, and she has a way to say it in a way that they're going to hear, at least. And so I think that says a lot about her and an ability to not just yell at them, but communicate.
Another player, I thought Ellie on Thursday, 8.7 boards. We'll talk about her three-point shooting on Saturday, but maybe felt for the first time since the ankle injury that Ellie was back to closest to 100% she's been. She looked more like herself and bounced back after a lot of minutes on Thursday and played it well again on Saturday.
Yeah, no, and that's, after 2 night shifts actually this week.
You told me that's incredible.
For her to play and to show up every day at practice, you would not know that she didn't sleep the night before. She's getting naps in during the day, but she just shows up, and she's the same person whether she slept 10 hours or she slept 2 hours.
Good for her.
And we need to continue to be aware of it as she continues throughout the end of the season, because doing it for a couple weeks is different than doing it for 1 week, and so she'll continue to have some night shifts, and so we got to make sure we're watching that. But it just says a lot about her, the willingness to show up and work and not complain, and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it by her play that she got 2 less hour nights of sleep than the rest of us.
Wow, and that's even more impressive. And maybe when she has a game, she isn't quite on shooting the ball. And that's what. It's easy to forget. They do have school. These players do have lives. There's a lot of things, and it's like every other human being. Some days it's not there for whatever reason. It's not a good day. We kind of sometimes forget that when we go out and watch these players play, and we're a part of it. But there's a lot of things going on sometimes.
There is, and that's what we talk about a lot. Is sometimes your best isn't the best we've ever seen, but whatever your best is every day, that's what we need, and we need to just bring whatever we have, whatever sort of energy we have that day, and just really try to be as locked in as we can. And our best isn't like top of the mountain. Our best is what do I have today to give, and when we can do that, we get better.
And then hopefully the teammates step up who are giving maybe their best and can maybe play a little bit better than they have been. Tigers get the big win on Thursday, then turn back around and face a Fort Smith team. First ever game in the state of Arkansas for the Tiger women. We'll talk about that when we return. Tiger Talk presented by Royal Roofing, the #1 local roofing company. Roofing, guttering, siding, and windows. Call today for a free estimate and give your home the Royal treatment with Royal Roofing. More Tiger Talk next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle. Tigers inbound left baseline. They get into Mortensen, who hits a layup. Olivia Mortensen with 6. Tigers within 1, and they steal the inbound. Levy steals the inbound, and Fort Hays State a chance to take the lead. Finds Weeder, who lets it in with a layup. 16 for T. There's a big possession. A layup on an inbound, then a steal and layup by Weeder. It's 44-43, Fort Hays State. Yeah, Tigers had to come from behind, but that was a big stretch in the fourth quarter as they rally and knock off Fort Smith on Saturday. Another 5-point win, 73-68, to go to 21-2. And something we didn't talk about, 15 straight 20-win seasons. I know that's one of the team goals every year to try to keep that streak going. Someday it probably will not happen, but you kind of check that off and move on. And I know it's a big deal, and there's a lot of pride in the program with that.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. I think to start the season anyway, that is the stressor to begin the year of just making sure we can get to that. And early in the year where we were winning like we were, it wasn't actually something I was super stressed about. And then as it gets closer, you think about it a little bit more. And so definitely a big one on Thursday to hit that pinnacle and continue that over the stretch of 15 years.
So especially when you get to 19 and then you lose, you're like, okay, can we? But yeah, that was a nice game, and we heard that highlight. That was a key stretch because you had to fight and claw. Fort Smith got on a roll, hitting 3 balls, and it was the game was in balance for a while, but that was a big stretch there early in that fourth quarter. Anytime you can get and Brooks so good at that and got the steal, and you scored both times off of that was huge.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to see Fort Smith probably win a lot of games late in the year. He brought in a new group, and I think that new group, it's hard to get them to mesh. And obviously they're shooting those shots at the beginning of the year that they haven't been making them, but they're shooting them for a reason. And so I think they believe they can make them, and he's letting them shoot them. And so we saw him make them the other day. I think in the first half let their 2 shooters kind of go off, which we didn't guard them super well, and those were the 2 that we were really going to try to lock in on the 3-point line and didn't. And then when that happens, they see the ball go in the hoop, and then everybody else believes that they can knock it in too. And we saw them shoot the ball really well, which I think they're capable of. I don't think it's a fluke. They just hadn't done it well this year.
Yeah, I think they started 0-6 for 3, and then they go 9 for 16 the rest of the way, and give your team some credit. I thought you adjusted and played better defense, but then you get comfortable. You see it go through. It didn't matter. Their record doesn't look great. You can see the talent level. They are as athletic and quick and physical as anybody in the league. And on their home floor, the 8th-ranked team in the country coming to town, you're catching these teams' best shots, and that's to be expected. But to your team's credit, it maybe isn't always pretty, but they've responded well enough to get out of there with wins.
Yep, nope. That's something that you walk into the gym, and we've got to really be ready to go because, like you said, we're going to probably get their best shot, and when things start going their way, they're really going to get fired up, and that's what we talk about a lot is making sure that we're locked in because we can't overlook any team, and a team that has has that record is a bad loss. And so you really got to lock in and make sure you don't have a bad loss when you're winning games and beating teams and trying to win something. You got to make sure you're locked in on those teams that you definitely should win, but knowing it's not going to be easy.
They have a good post player, and I thought you did a good job on Wemba, who, by the way, the name we saw was Maria Rose Priscilla Wemba, but it's actually Maria Rose Priscilla Baloa Kasamba Bebenesha Wemba. I did not call her that the whole time. That was too much. But I thought you did a good job. She's athletic, and she got 7 rebounds, but you held her to 4 points. She kind of got in foul trouble trying to guard T. I thought that was a key point of the game because she's a really good, athletic, good footwork post player, one of the better ones, I think, in our conference.
Yeah, Telexa was locked in defensively. She just did a really good job of making sure that she was trying to do what she could do and make sure that she could guard how she should guard, and she did a really, really good job on her. If she has a good game, their post player, I'm not sure we come out with a win, and Telexa just did a phenomenal job on her that day.
Well, the Tigers get out of there with a victory, and now they get set to come back home. And, again, their final weekend at home as they take on the Emporia State Hornets as well as the Newman Jets. Down to 3 final home games here for 2025 and 2026. We'll talk about that when we return here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
Tired of equipment that's seen better days? Or maybe you have a project that requires a bigger machine than you own. This is Blake from United Rentals and Hayes, and we have you covered. Whether you're a contractor, a farmer, or working on your own project, we've got the machinery you need. Big or small, and everything in between, you can rent it for a day, a week, or a month. And if you're looking to own, we have a huge inventory of reliable used equipment for sale. Plus, we can service and repair the equipment you already own. Stop by United Rentals on South Vine and Hayes. We're your one-stop shop for rentals, used equipment sales, and repairs.
Nope, it is still a 2-3 zone. Stearns another 3. Swish. Barely moved the net. Timeout, Fort Smith. Ellie Stearns, red hot from 3. Her 5th of the game. 15 for Ellie. That one off a career high for 3s. She had 5 of them Saturday in the win over Fort Smith. Tiger Talk brought to you by BTI, your full-service John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Gray Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. And again, a reminder, you can always sync up our radio call with the MIAA video feed. All you have to do is download the TuneIn app on your smartphone or tablet, however you listen to the game. And then on game day, when you're watching the MIAA network, pause it right before tip-off, let the audio catch up, and you'll sync up the video with the audio, or vice versa. If the audio is running a little bit ahead of the video, which sometimes happens, right when you hear us about ready to do the tip-off, go ahead and pause the audio stream and let the video catch up, and you can listen to the radio while watching on the MIAA network. Tigers beat Fort Smith, beat Northeastern State. They're 21-2. They have a half-game lead atop the MIAA, and they're back at home for the final full weekend of games. Thursday, Emporia. Saturday, the Newman Jets. Before we get to that, we talked about Ellie. 5 3s, good to see that, and that just makes a difference when she's hitting them, and you can kind of feel, and a couple of those, that net barely moved, and when that's happening, you know it's going to be a good day for her. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, no, we're definitely glad that she was hitting shots.
Because no one else really was hitting 3s.
No, we were struggling. And just fun to see her put some points up because that's something she's good at and something she doesn't get an opportunity to do a ton because people are locked in on her and they're not giving her easy shots, and so for her to shake loose, and we saw a zone on Saturday too, and that always kind of shakes loose on the three-point line, and so we did a good job of making sure we were getting to the ball, but she was doing a good job of making sure her feet were right so she could knock down those shots.
Yeah, 17 points on 5 of 12 threes. She had 8 rebounds to lead the team, also 3 assists and a couple of steals. It was more than just the shooting. She was all around really good.
She was really good and didn't necessarily want to play anybody 40 minutes that day and didn't realize I hadn't got her out. So that was silly on my part, but she was playing really good, and she didn't need a sub, and she fought through it, and she won the game for us probably.
Tigers get the win, and now back at home, and Emporia State comes to town, and you won, I think, by 18 the first time you played them, but that's a very misleading 18. That was a grind. You kind of pulled away in the final 3-4 minutes of that game, and they've gotten some big home wins, beat Pitt the other night, and playing some really good ball, playing maybe some of their best basketball. It's going to be a challenge on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, they've beat Pitt and Central Missouri
both. That's right, yeah.
So for 2 of the 4 top teams this year, and so they're ready to go. They always have a plan, and we weren't ready for them offensively. We didn't do a good job against them the first time. We were ready for them to do some different things, and they ended up not. So got to be ready for whatever they're going to throw at us, but we're executing better, I think, and making sure we're getting better shots on the offensive end. And then defensively, they're playing really good offensively. They got a lot of threats. They have different people stepping up and hitting big shots. Freshmen hit their game winner against Pitt the other day, and so they have a lot of different weapons that if they get hot, they're hard to guard.
And as you said, I know after that game, they kind of surprised you with what they ran or didn't run, and it took a while for your team to figure that out. I'm guessing. I mean, how do you prepare for that? Knowing, I mean, we can prepare, but be ready. We throw the script out 2 minutes in.
No, and I'm glad that Fort Smith played zone on Saturday because we needed to see that look again because we hadn't seen that for a while, and so we were able to run some of that offense on the zone side of things. So it makes me feel better going into this week. If they do throw something different at us, that we've at least played with it the last week and worked on it, and so got to be ready to go. Got to make sure we're running our offense the way we need to, but we really got to lock in on the defensive end on Thursday and Saturday both. Newman's similar to Fort Smith in that they have some scores and they have an ability to shake loose, and anybody can kind of go off for them. They just haven't been making them very much, and so we got to make sure that they're having to take a tough shot every time up the floor.
And that's a scary team. It's in a sense, you look at their record and it's not good. They're at the bottom of the standings. They have struggled to get anything going. You know they're going to be excited to play in Hayes, and you're going to catch a good effort. And you play teams like that, you can't let them get any confidence or get on a roll. Fort Smith kind of did, and you're in for a tussle. And even, as you said, in this league, doesn't matter where they are in the standings, you have to play the game the right way. If you do, you'll be fine. But if you don't, it's going to be a challenge.
Yep. Nope. Newman went into overtime with, Pitt or Southern last week. And then both games were 5-point games. Yeah. So Pitt and Southern are good, and they're in the top of the standings. And so they played those guys tough, and so I expect them to come in and play us tough too. And so we really got to lock in and make sure we get 2 wins this week.
How are your young gals doing? It's a grind of a season, and they've played more now than they normally are right about the point of their high school season, and we still got 3 weeks left of the regular season. They hanging in there okay? I mean, can you tell a little bit? It's a little bit more than they're used to probably for a season.
Yeah, no, I think they're doing a good job. I think there's days where maybe they're not as good, but I think that's being a freshman. The consistency maybe isn't quite there like we have with our upperclassmen, but that's part of having a young team. But they're just having fun, and they're around a bunch of good kids, and they come in every day ready to go, and they're ready to compete. And so I don't see that as much, but it is a grind, and you got to be locked in every day, and it's a long season, and I think they're doing a great job.
It should be a lot of fun. Your final few chances to see them at home: Thursday, Emporia State 5:30, 7:30. Saturday, Newman 2 and 4, and then the final week of the regular season, Kearney on a Thursday. So down to 3 home games left. Hope to see you out at the Coliseum. Should be a fun weekend of basketball. That's going to wrap up the program. Certainly hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next Monday. Until then, for Coach Mark Johnson and Talia Cars, Gerard Welbrock saying so long here on the Tiger Sports Network.